Adobe Illustrator is used for vector drawing, which means you use it to create shapes and different types of paths. In this video, you'll find out what a vector path is made of by using different tools to explore paths in this project file. You can open this practice file if you want to follow along. Start by selecting the Selection tool in the Tools panel on the left. Then come out to the artwork and click right on this line to select it. This is a straight path. Paths are composed of anchor points at the start and end of a simple path, with a path or line segment connecting those anchor points. In a path like this, the anchor points control the length and direction of the path. Now let's look at a curved path like you see here. Select the Zoom tool in the Tools panel on the left and drag across this path to zoom in. Then select the Selection tool in the Tools panel on the left and click right on the curved path above the line. When you select a path with the Selection tool, a bounding box surrounds the path, allowing you to resize, rotate, and transform the path as a whole. If you don't see this bounding box, choose View, Show Bounding Box to turn them on. Try dragging a corner of the box to see how it reshapes the path. In the Properties panel to the right of the document, you'll see the properties of the selected path. Notice that there's a stroke applied to this path but no fill. Click the fill color, make sure the swatches option is selected, and then select the color. I'll select this blue. Notice that the stroke doesn't completely surround the fill. This path is called an open path because the anchor points on the ends of the path are not connected. Now to remove that color fill, choose Edit, Undo Apply Swatch. If you want to edit a path by adjusting the curve, for instance, you would edit the anchor points. To see the anchor points that control this path, select the Direct Selection tool in the Tools panel on the left. The Direct Selection tool can be used to adjust the path and the individual anchor points. This can give you control over the shape of the path after you've created it. Move the pointer over the top anchor point of the curve. When you see the word Anchor, click to select the anchor point. You should see these lines coming from the anchor point now. These are called direction handles or control handles. Any anchor point you create can have these handles, and they can be used to curve a path and control the shape of that curve. Try dragging the end of a handle and you'll see that the curve of the path changes. The last type of path you'll look at are shapes. A shape, like a circle or a square, is a closed path, since the starting and ending points of the path are the same. In other words, all the anchor points are connected one to another in this shape. With the Direct Selection tool selected, click the edge of this circle shape to select it. You should see 4 anchor points that control the curve of the path. Move the pointer over one of the anchor points, and then click to select it. You'll see the direction handles that control the curve. Try dragging this anchor point to move it. Then drag the end of a direction handle and you'll see that the curve of the path changes. There are a lot of paths and shapes you can create in Illustrator, and all of them are made up of anchor points, paths, and when necessary, direction handles to create a curve. Understanding what paths are composed of is a great first step to creating and editing your own artwork in Illustrator. Adobe Illustrator has a variety of tools for drawing paths, including the Pencil tool for creating fluid, beautiful curves and straight paths. To complete the artwork for this project, you'll start by drawing with the Pencil tool, then set some Pencil tool settings, and finally you'll finish the artwork for the ship out here. You can open this practice file if you want to follow along. With the file open, notice the ship artwork on the left. You'll add the final shapes to that ship using the Pencil tool. So to zoom into part of it, select the Zoom tool in the Tools panel on the left and drag across the upper left part of the artboard with the ship on it to zoom in. To select the Pencil tool and start drawing, press and hold on the Paintbrush tool in the Tools panel on the left. Then select the Pencil tool from the menu that appears. Before you start drawing, you'll set a few properties. To set the stroke color and the stroke weight for the line you're about to draw, click the stroke color in the Properties panel to the right. With the swatches selected, make sure that black is chosen. You can press Escape to hide the colors. Also, make sure that the stroke weight is set to 1 here. In this case, the fill won't matter since it will be removed when you start drawing. To the left of the ship in a blank area, press and drag to create a curved path with the Pencil tool. Drawing with the pencil tool is a lot like drawing with a pencil and paper. Even slight variations will show. To make paths you draw with the pencil tool smoother, you can edit the pencil tool settings. Double-click the pencil tool in the Tools panel on the left, and the tool options appear in a dialog box. Now to make the paths you draw smoother, drag the top slider all the way over to Smooth. This will affect any new paths you draw with the pencil tool. So click OK, and try drawing another curved path with the pencil tool. Notice that the path is smoother after you release the mouse button. Now you'll draw a part of the ship. You can follow these aqua guides as you draw if you like. Starting in the corner here, press and drag to begin drawing with the pencil tool and follow the aqua guides as best you can. When you return to the beginning of the path, a circle will show next to the pointer, meaning the path will be closed when you release the mouse button. So release the mouse button to close the path. You'll notice that this corner down here really isn't a corner. With the pencil tool, you can also redraw parts of a path, even paths not created with the pencil tool. To redraw part of a path, move the pointer onto the path. When the asterisk next to the pencil icon disappears, redraw part of the path you want, making sure to finish back on the existing path. There. To change the color fill of the shape, click the Fill Color in the Properties panel to the right, make sure the swatches are selected, and select this tan color. Now you'll move in the document window to another part of the document. So press the spacebar to access the hand tool temporarily, and drag in the document window to see the aqua guides at the bottom of the artboard. Then release the spacebar. Next you'll draw this shape following the guides. This time you'll see how to draw a straight line with the pencil tool as you draw. So starting here before drawing, press the Option key on Mac or Alt key on Windows to begin drawing a straight line. When a line appears next to the pencil pointer, drag to create a straight line down to here. Without releasing the mouse button, release the key and continue drawing along the aqua guide. When you come to the top line of the aqua guide, with the mouse button still held down, press the Option key on Mac or Alt key on Windows and draw a straight line across the top. When the pointer reaches the starting point, a circle appears next to it. Release the mouse button and then the key to close the path. To set the fill color for the shape you just drew, click the Fill Color in the Properties panel and select this orange color. So that you can see all of the artwork, choose View, Fit All in Window. Now to complete this design, you're going to drag the ship onto the right artboard. So select the Selection tool, drag across the two paths you created, and press Backspace or Delete to remove them. Then, drag across all of the shapes to select them here. Drag one of the selected shapes to the artboard on the right, and there you go. Drawing with the pencil tool can be really fun, and it gives you a tool for creating fluid paths easily. Like with all the tools in Illustrator, take your time and practice creating in your own projects. The Curvature tool in Illustrator is a great way to create vector artwork easily. You'll use it to create the guitar artwork you see over here on the right by drawing the paths that make up this guitar, and then assembling the shapes in the artboard on the right. If you'd like to follow along, you can open this file from the practice files for this tutorial. And with the file open, just to make sure that you can see all of the artwork, choose View, Fit All in Window. You'll start by zooming into the first area where you'll begin drawing. So select the Zoom tool in the Tools panel on the left, and drag across this purple area on the left to zoom in. You'll begin by drawing the body of the guitar here. So select the Curvature tool in the Tools panel on the left. The Curvature tool is used to create paths by clicking to set anchor points. Before you start drawing though, in the Properties panel to the right, you'll change some appearance settings. So click the Fill Color, make sure the Swatches option is selected, and choose None so you can remove the fill while you draw. You can then press Escape to hide the colors. And then make sure the stroke weight is set to 1. These will be the fill and stroke settings for the artwork you're about to draw. Now the circles in the document out here indicate where you will click to set anchor points for a path. So starting at the top, click to create the first anchor point. After you release the mouse button, move the pointer to the next circle and click to create another anchor point. After you release the mouse button again, Move the pointer away and notice that a curved path is created between these 2 points. Move the pointer around to get a feeling for how it's creating the curve. Then come to the next point and click to set it. Then move the pointer away again. As you draw with the curvature tool, you can edit the anchor points you've already drawn, even moving them, adding more, or deleting them. Come to the previous point you created and move the pointer over it. Click to select it. Drag that point to see how you can move them and reshape the path. Then drag it back where it was. Click to create the next point and continue clicking to create the points all the way around this shape. To close the path, move the pointer over the first point you created, and when a circle appears next to the pointer, click to close the path and finish drawing this shape. Now you can also create straight lines with the curvature tool, which is what you'll do next to create the neck of this guitar. So come over here and click to set the first anchor point. Then click to set the next point in the corner to the right and move the pointer away. Notice that the path has a curve. Now to make this path straight, move the pointer over the last anchor point you created and double click on it. Then move the pointer away. The paths are now straight. You can also work faster by double clicking to create a point and make a straight line at the same time. So come to where the next point will go down here and double click to create an anchor point with a straight path. Then double click to create the next point. Come back to the original point you created and double click to close the path and finish drawing with a straight line. Paths you create with any of the drawing tools can also be edited with the curvature tool. To see artwork that you'll edit, press the space bar to temporarily access the hand tool and then drag it in the document window so that you can see the orange area below. Release the space bar. To zoom into this orange area, select the zoom tool and drag across it. This shape needs a curve at the bottom, not a straight line. So next you'll add a new point and reposition it with the curvature tool. First you need to select the path. Select the selection tool in the tools panel and click the edge of the shape to select it. Then select the curvature tool again in the tools panel. Now with the shape selected, move the pointer over the bottom path. When a plus sign appears next to the pointer, click to add a point. Then drag that new point down to give the bottom of the shape some curve. Deleting a point is just as easy. You can actually click to select a point with the curvature tool and press backspace or delete to remove it. To finish the artwork, you'll drag all of the shapes you created into place. To see everything, choose View, Fit All in Window. Select the selection tool and drag each of these shapes by their edges, since they don't have a fill, into position on the right. With the curvature tool, practice makes perfect. Keep using it and you'll be able to create all kinds of paths and shapes for your own artwork. Once you create artwork in Illustrator, you'll inevitably need to edit it. Using the artwork in this practice file, you'll select and move anchor points on paths using the direct selection tool, and then you'll learn how to reshape paths and then edit paths with the curvature tool. You'll start by selecting and editing this circle. So select the zoom tool in the tools panel on the left so you can zoom into it and drag across the circle shape. If you want to resize or rotate or otherwise transform a shape like the circle, you would select it with the selection tool in the tools panel. Now to see and edit the anchor points for a path, select the direct selection tool in the tools panel on the left and then click the edge of the circle. The anchor points that make up the shape will appear. You'll learn about the parts of the path in the first video in this section, Understanding Paths and Curves. Click one of the anchor points and move the pointer away. You can tell an anchor point is selected because it's filled with a color. Then move the pointer back over that anchor point and drag it to see how it affects the shape. You can try that for any of the points in the shape. Now you'll work on paths at the top of the artboard. At times you'll need to pan and zoom in a document to work on different parts. To do that, you'll access the hand tool. So press the space bar, drag in the document window, and pan across to see the top of the guitar at the top of the artboard. Then release the space bar. If you need to zoom out a little bit, you can choose View, Zoom Out. Now the direct selection tool can also select and adjust paths. So move the pointer over a path and click to select it. With the pointer over the path, you'll see this curved arrow, which means you can reshape the path by dragging. So drag this curved path to try to reshape it. Now you'll move to another part of the artwork and see how dragging a straight path works. Press the space bar to access the hand tool again. Drag in the document window so you can see the path with the straight line down here. Then release the space bar. Move the pointer over the edge of this shape and click to select it. Like the path above, you can drag the curved parts of this path to reshape them as well. But move the pointer over this straight path, drag the path, and notice that it moves as a straight line. This method moves the path instead of reshaping it since it's not curved. Drag that path up just a little bit to reshape it. Now you'll go back up to the top of the guitar to start editing with the curvature tool. So press the space bar to access the hand tool, drag in the document window to pan to the top of the guitar, then release the space bar. If you find yourself with a path or shape that needs editing, and moving anchor points or reshaping paths isn't enough, you can create, delete, and edit anchor points using the curvature tool. Select the curvature tool in the tools panel on the left. Then click on this path to select it, and you'll see the anchor points for this path. Now to convert a path from a curve to a straight line or the other way around, you can double-click an existing anchor point with the curvature tool. So move the pointer over this anchor point and double-click to make the paths straight. To completely change the shape of the path, like in this area, you can even add or delete anchor points. Move the pointer over the edge of the path, and when a plus appears, click to add a new anchor point. Try dragging that anchor point to reshape the path. When you're finished, move the pointer down the path a bit and add another anchor point by clicking. Drag that new anchor point to reshape the path. To deselect everything, choose Select, Deselect. And then to see all the artwork, choose View, Fit Artboard and Window. Now that you know some methods for editing paths, you'll be able to make changes to paths in your own artwork, whether it's fine-tuning a logo design or editing artwork for signage, and a whole lot more. If you want to give your artwork a more free-form look in Adobe Illustrator, you can use drawing tools like the Paintbrush or Pencil tool. Using the Paintbrush and Pencil tools, you draw a path like you would with an actual paintbrush or pencil. With the other drawing tools like the curvature and pen tools, you draw paths by making points. Let's explore the pencil and the paintbrush tools by finishing this butterfly. Now, both tools let you draw paths the same way, but with the paintbrush tool, you can change the appearance of your paths by selecting or creating a brush even before you draw. With the paintbrush tool selected, click the brush menu in the properties panel over here and select a brush you like. Now, to change how the tool works, I usually set at least one tool option to start. Double-click the tool. To make the paths smoother you draw, and so they have fewer points, drag this fidelity slider all the way to the right. And then select this Keep Selected option, so the path you draw is still selected in case you want to edit it when you're done. Then click OK. Notice that the paintbrush pointer shows an asterisk next to it. For any drawing tool, that means you're about to create a new path. So in the document, why don't you try drawing this butterfly antenna, following the gray guide path. After you release the mouse, the brush you chose is applied to the path. Now, if you want to edit the path, you can easily redraw parts right now. Move the pointer over the path, and when the asterisk goes away, drag. You can also always change the brush applied to the path. Try choosing something different from the brush menu over here, maybe to experiment a little. If you don't want the brush applied, you can also remove it here. Or if you want to find some more brushes to experiment with, you can click here. To make the path you drew a little thinner, why don't you try changing the stroke weight to something like 0.5 point. Then try drawing the other antenna. Okay, now you'll experiment with the pencil tool. To select it, it's under the paintbrush tool. Press and hold on the paintbrush tool, and you can see it in the menu there. Like the paintbrush tool, the pencil tool creates freeform paths, but you can also create straight lines with the pencil tool. Once again, to edit the tool settings, double-click the pencil tool. To make the paths smoother, drag this slider to the right, then click OK. You should see the asterisk next to the pointer since you're about to draw a new path. Start anywhere in the template path and drag to draw this wing. Once you come back to where you started, when you see a circle next to the pointer, release and it closes the path. Notice that the brush is not applied to the path as you draw with the pencil tool. Brushes can actually be applied to just about any path you create, but you do it in a panel called the Brushes panel. To redraw parts of the path like you did with the paintbrush, move the pointer over the path and drag to redraw the path when the asterisk disappears. Make sure you end up back on the path in this case. Okay, to change the fill color of this butterfly shape so we can see it better, click the fill color and select something. To make the inner part you see here, you'll copy your wing. So choose Edit, Copy, and then Edit, Paste in Place. To make it smaller, with the selection tool, shift drag the copy from the side. You might want to change the color of it then. I chose a lighter salmon pink. And so that you can still see the template underneath, let's hide both of the shapes we just made. So with the selection tool, drag across them and choose Object, Hide, Selection. Now you'll draw these paths here. You'll make a few of them straight lines. Select the pencil tool, and to set their color first, change the stroke color to this salmon pink color. And make the stroke weight a little thicker. Press the Option key on macOS or Alt on Windows and draw a straight line to here. Make sure you release the mouse button first and then the key. Go ahead and draw the next curvy path, and make sure before you draw you see the asterisk, otherwise you might edit the straight line you just made. Then to draw this next straight line, press Option on Mac or Alt on Windows, draw another straight line, then draw these last paths. When you're finished, to show everything, choose Object, Show All. It's really fun to draw and edit paths with these tools. Why don't you try practicing in this file? Maybe draw the wing on the left. Of course, you could copy what you did or even use the mirror feature here to make a copy for you. Let's explore a few Illustrator what are called drawing modes that are going to help you create and edit faster. In the toolbar over here, you're going to see there are 3 drawing modes. I'll press on this button here. Draw normal, draw behind, and draw inside. When creating content in Illustrator, draw normal mode is default. It means all new content is placed on top of the previous in the stacking order. Draw behind mode means all new content is placed behind the previous in the stacking order. And draw inside mode means all new content goes within a shape like this hot air balloon. Let's start by adding a gradient filled rectangle to this design so it's behind everything else, like you see in the final over here. Now you could draw the rectangle and arrange it to go behind everything else, but it'd be easier just to draw it behind everything to start with. Press and hold on the drawing mode button at the bottom of the tools panel and choose draw behind. Now let's draw a rectangle. So select the rectangle tool, and starting up here, go ahead and create a rectangle that covers the entire artboard. The rectangle should be behind everything else. Let's change the fill color. Click the fill color in the properties panel and select this gradient. Now to change the direction of the gradient, click the gradient options button down here, and you can open the gradient panel. In that panel, change the angle to 90 degrees. That looks a little better. Next, you're going to take this cloud and paste it behind some of these balloons, but in front of the other background shapes. With the selection tool, click to select this cloud. Go ahead and cut it by choosing Edit Cut. Now you've already got the draw behind mode still active. So select the yellow balloon shape here, and let's paste it by choosing Edit, Paste. Notice that it's right behind the balloon, but it's still in front of everything else. Any content you add by drawing, pasting, or placing with artwork selected will be put just underneath the selected artwork. Why don't you try doing the same to the other balloon? Go ahead and select the balloon and then paste, and you can reposition. Okay, select Draw Normal Mode down here in the toolbar, and we're going to take this pattern you see in the final design to the right, and we're going to add it to our working design. We'll use a menu command that is similar to the drawing modes. So select this pattern and copy it. Now to paste it on top of the background rectangle you made, select the rectangle and choose View, Fit Artboard and Window. Then choose Edit, Paste in Front. Notice that it went right in front of the rectangle, but behind everything else. With artwork selected, the Paste in Front command pasted it in front of what was selected. Next, you're going to add some artwork inside of these balloons to decorate them. So select this smaller balloon. Press and hold on the drawing mode button, and this time choose Draw Inside. Notice that there's some dashed lines around the balloon. That means that any content you create, paste, or place will be put inside of the balloon shape. Now you're going to try drawing some circles and put them in the balloon. So press and hold on the rectangle tool and select the ellipse tool. Before you draw, let's set a color. So click the fill color over here in the properties panel, and I'll choose this light green color. You can then press escape to hide the colors. Now come out here and just draw a few circles inside of the balloon shape, and make sure a few extend beyond the edge of the balloon. You can see any artwork outside the balloon shape is masked or hidden. This actually creates what's called a clipping mask for us. Now to stop drawing inside this shape, you want to choose Draw Normal from down here, from the drawing modes, and the lines will disappear. Otherwise, everything you create will be inside that balloon. Now if you want to edit the content you added, those circles, select the selection tool. First, click in a blank area to deselect anything. Then come to the balloon and double click on it. You actually enter isolation mode. You can add more artwork right now. You can move the circles, edit them, do whatever you want to do. When you're finished, you can press the escape key. As a last bit here, you're going to paste this group of shapes you see off the side of the artboard into this yellow balloon using that same Draw Inside mode. So select this group of shapes and cut it by choosing Edit Cut. Click this balloon and choose Draw Inside from the Drawing Modes menu. Then go ahead and paste the content. Notice how I kind of paste it in the center of the balloon. You can drag it where you want, reshape it, recolor it, do what you need to do. Once again, when you're finished, you can choose Draw Normal, and you'll notice the dashed lines disappear. Drawing content behind or inside of other content can really speed up your workflow and make it easy to be creative with your artwork. To get some practice, try drawing some shapes inside of this smaller balloon. Then maybe remove them and paste these green balloon shapes inside instead.